Hello and welcome to the Virtual Slate Face-to-Face plugin overview video. In today's video, we will be discussing what the Face-to-Face plugin does, the settings associated with the plugin at the activity level, the management of the sessions and the attendance tracking features, the plugin from the student's perspective, and the settings available to the site administrators at the site level. So what does the Face-to-Face plugin do? The Face-to-Face plugin allows educators to manage in-person training with multiple sessions, reminders, and attendance tracking features. The Face-to-Face plugin can be utilized for various purposes ranging from educational lectures to yoga classes and employee training. Consider adding the Face-to-Face plugin to your classes today to make them more interactive for your learners. Let's go ahead and turn editing mode on within one of our courses and select the Face-to-Face activity from the list of resources and activities. We'll begin by providing a required name for the Face-to-Face activity and an optional description that can be chosen to be displayed on the course page for your learners. We'll define the number of sessions that will be displayed on the course page. These sessions will be listed and directly viewable for students on the course page itself. And then we'll go ahead and define some third-party email addresses, which is also optional. These email addresses will be notified of user signups. If the approval required checkbox is enabled, then users must first receive permission from their manager before their session request is granted. In the calendar options section, administrators can choose how the Moodle site calendar entries will be created. You can choose to specify whether they will be created as course entries, user level entries, or if no entries will be created for face-to-face activities. Now let's take a look at some of the emails that are sent out by the face-to-face activity plugin. The first email is the sign-up confirmation. This email is sent out to users when they successfully sign up for a session. The reminder email can be sent out to students a few days before the session start date, informing them that they have an upcoming session. The waitlisted emails are sent out to students whenever they have been placed on the waitlist for an upcoming session. The session canceled emails are sent out to students whenever the session has either been deleted or removed by the administrator or teachers. The sign-up canceled emails are sent out to students whenever they cancel their sign-up sessions themselves. The session finished emails can be sent out to students following a certain amount of days after the session completion. The session date changed emails are sent out to session attendees whenever the session dates have been modified by the administrators. The email booking request emails are sent out to users once they have signed up for a session, informing them that their booking request has been forwarded to their manager. These settings will only take effect if the approval required checkbox is selected above. And then finally, we have the third-party email addresses that are associated with sign-up confirmations, sign-up cancellations, and booking requests and waitlists. The managers can also be notified of booking requests and sign-up canceled if the approval required checkbox is selected. Now let's begin by adding our first session to our face-to-face activity. You can click the Add a New Session button when viewing the face-to-face activity. Let's begin by providing a location and a time zone for the session. If your location is a virtual meeting, such as a Zoom or a Microsoft Teams meeting, you may choose to provide the link here instead. We'll specify the time zone that this meeting will take place in, and the capacity for the amount of spaces that are allowed to attend. You can choose to enable the waitlist to allow additional users to sign up for the session after the capacity has been reached, and choose to specify the number of days that the booking will be closed. In this example, the booking will be closed 1 day before the session start time. You can provide the session cost and the duration associated with the session, and any session details for attendees to view. In the Dates section, you can define the dates associating with the session. You can make the session reoccurring by adding multiple dates via the Add a New Date button. Once you're satisfied with your changes, be sure to click the Save Changes button. You'll notice that the session has now been added to the Upcoming Sessions tab on the face-to-face activity. Now let's take a look at some of the actions that are available for the sessions. Under the Action column next to a session, you can choose to either edit the session, copy the session, delete the session, view the attendees for that specific session, and view the session details. Let's go ahead and view the attendees list. This page will display a list of all the attendees that have currently signed up for the session, listed under the attendees table, any session attendees whose session approval requests have been unapproved, any session attendees within the waitlist, and session attendees who have canceled their session request. We can manually add and remove attendees by clicking the Add/Remove button and control-clicking multiple users to add and remove them respectively. You can choose to suppress the email notifications for these users by clicking the checkbox associated. Attendance can be taken for sessions that are currently in progress or finished. You can take attendance by navigating to the Action tab and viewing the attendees list. If you navigate down to the bottom of the page, the Take Attendance button will now become visible. On this page, you can specify the attendance status for the user, choosing from booked, not attended, partially attended, or fully attended session status. After assigning the session attendance to the users, you can click the Save Changes button. Now let's take a look at the Export Attendance feature. Also located on the View Attendees page, next to the Take Attendance button, the attendance can be exported for this specific session. This will download a .csv file containing the session attendance for the session attendees for this specific session. The fields within the CSV file are determined by the site administrator via the plugin settings, which we will look at later on in this video. Let's take a look at how the Face-to-Face plugin operates from the student perspective. Students can view the session details for upcoming sessions directly from the course page by clicking the Details button located next to a session, or going directly into the Face-to-Face activity and viewing the session details from there. On this page, our student is going to sign up for this first test session. They'll provide their card details and submit their payment. After the payment has been submitted, you'll notice that our student now has the book status within an upcoming session. They can choose to cancel their booking via the red Cancel Booking icon provided. Students can provide a reason for their cancellation and submit. The student will now have a canceled status. Alternatively, if students sign up for a session where approval is required, they'll still have to submit payment similar to how they did for the previous sessions. However, they will now have a pending status within the session. This implies that their booking request has been forwarded to their manager and is awaiting approval. Once the session request has been confirmed by the administrator or their manager, the user's booking status will be successfully updated to booked. On the View Attendees page, administrators and managers can approve or decline session approval requests. Declining the request will move the user to the cancellations table. Approving the request will move the user to the attendees table. The Face-to-Face site-level plugin settings can be accessed by site administrators by navigating to the admin dashboard, scrolling down to the Advanced Settings section, and selecting the Face-to-Face plugin settings option. Alternatively, you can access this settings page by navigating to the Site Administration menu, going into the Plugins tab, scrolling down to the Activity Modules section, and selecting the Face-to-Face plugin. The General Settings tab controls the general settings associated with the Face-to-Face activity. You can specify the From name, which will be included at the bottom of all emails sent out by the Face-to-Face activity module. You can also specify the user profile field that will be used to map the user's manager's email address to. This setting is used when the approval required setting is checked in the activity settings. On this tab, you can also assign additional custom session fields. You can select text, menu options, and multi-select fields to be added to session pages. In the Payment Settings tab, you can manage the payment settings associated with the Face-to-Face plugin. Here you can enable session costs, which will allow you to enter values associated with the session costs correlating to each session. You can also set up taxes to be assigned and charged against the session costs. If we scroll down, you'll notice that there's a Stripe section. Here you can enable Stripe and enter your Stripe credentials to allow for live and test payments to be carried out. Furthermore, you can choose to enable or disable refunds, allowing for refunds to automatically be issued to users who have been placed on the waitlist when a session starts. In the Export Attendance Settings tab, you can specify the fields that will be included in the attendance CSV. You can control-click multiple fields to your preference. Furthermore, you can choose to filter the exported attendance CSV by only including users with the selected session attendance statuses. Thank you for watching the Virtual Slate Face-to-Face plugin overview video. We hope that you have a more comfortable understanding of how the plugin operates.